Morning everybody, it is Tuesday, it is lesson 2 of this week for maths. Hopefully the activity yesterday with the making groups, equal groups and things like this wasn't too tricky. So today we're going to move on to something different. Now this is aimed at the year 1s at the moment, but year 2s it's a case of going over things, and it will help us year 2s, if we can do this week, we can move on to something a little bit trickier next week when the year 1s go and move on to something different. Okay, so today we're going to focus on counting in 2s. We're going to be able to count objects accurately. We're going to go forwards and backwards in 2s. We are going to count in 2s from any number. And we're going to see about solving problems involving counting in 2s. Okay, so in a minute I'm going to show you a little video of myself counting in 2s, a video within a video. I do apologise, it's a little bit on the shaky side, it kept zooming in and out of focus, but I hope you enjoy. So feel free to watch. Off we go. Ladies and gentlemen, this morning we are going to do some counting in 2s, and I'm going to use biscuits to help me. Okay, you can say it with me. 0, 2, 4, 6. I'm going to eat all these biscuits, by the way. 8. 10. 12. 14. You can do this with anything at home, any kind of biscuit. 16. Like a little wall here. 18. 20. 22. 24. 26. 28. 30. 30 biscuits. Okay, marvellous. That video is available on YouTube if you would like to re-watch it. It was very slow, but I was focused on the biscuits. Okay, so for the remainder of this lesson, it might be worth you getting something to do some counting with. So pencils, rubbers, biscuits, cubes, Lego bricks, raisins, Smarties, anything at all that you can count using, you can count in 2s with. Okay, right, let's move on. So, my question for you here is, how many socks are there all together? We're not just going to count them, we're going to break it down into those groups that we have been talking about for the last week and a bit. Okay, so first of all, we have a pair of socks. How many pairs of socks are there? And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to write the numbers underneath. Okay, so Here we have a pair of socks, and another one, and 3, and 4, and 5, and 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. That is a lot of socks. Okay, so we have 18 pairs of socks. Those are groups. So I can write 18 in here. And if you want to make your 18 pairs of socks with either some socks or some blocks or anything like that, that's absolutely fine. Now, how many blocks are there in one? How many blocks? How many socks are there in one pair? Well, if I put a circle round one pair of socks, how many socks in that pair, in that group? Well, the answer, you're all shouting at me, I can hear it, 2. Okay, so we can say, and I've actually given you a little clue by putting the 2 down here, we can say that there are 18 groups of 2. Right, the question was, how many socks are there altogether? So let's count in 2s together. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30. That's as far as I got in the video. Let's keep going though. 32, 34, 36. So if we count in 2s, we've got an answer of 36. Now, you will want to check your work. That's a lot of counting in 2s, and we might have made a mistake. Now, we can check our work. It's a very long-winded way of doing it, and it takes a long time, but we need to count all the socks individually. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. So we still got the answer 36. But it was much quicker counting in 2s to get our answer. And that's why we teach you how to count in 2s, and we'll be counting in 5s and 10s this week as well, because it allows us to count things quickly but just as accurately, especially when the numbers get really big, like 36 for example. Let's have a go at another one, okay? So get your bricks or your blocks or your raisins or your Smarties or your socks or anything ready, because here we've got some gloves. Okay, now remember we're still counting in 2s. So the first thing is, how many pairs of gloves are there? So again, we can write underneath, but this time I want you to see them as groups. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there are 9 pairs of gloves. That means there are 9 groups of 2. Okay, now how I want you to see that written, because we're not actually doing any multiplication yet, we'll do that next week. I want you to see it when we're counting in 2s, we are adding 2 every time. So although it's a long number sentence, how many gloves are? Well, it is 2, add 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 2. Let me just double check that there are 9 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 groups of 2. How many is that all together? Well, now we count in twos. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. And you can actually write you can write it down as you go. So you could go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. And the good thing about doing it that way is you don't miss any, and if you make a mistake, you know where you've got to. So if you go 10 and then think, oh, and then somebody distracts you and you think, oh, how many did I get to? You know you've got 10 there and you can count on in twos. So the answer was 18. Okay, last one. How many wheels? Record it as a number sentence. Okay, so I want you to do it this time. You can do it in your books if you want to. You can do it on the back. You can do it near the counting in twos sheet that's stuck in your book. There are some problems which we'll talk about in a minute, but you can do it underneath those problems as well if you wanted to. But how many wheels? Don't just count the wheels. Okay, let's see if we can go through it step by step. So first of all, we need to know how many bicycles we have, because that's how many groups. Then you want to know how many wheels on a bike. Well, as we're counting in twos today, it's going to be 2. So we're going to have how many groups of 2? Okay, so we've got 1 group of 2, 2 groups of 2, 3 groups of 2, 4 groups of 2, and 5 groups of 2. So we can write that here. We can say 5 groups of 2. And that means we're going to write it as a number sentence, which means we're going to do it as an add. So we've got 1, 2, add another 2, add another 2, add another 2, oh, add another 2. There's our 5 groups of 2, and now we want an answer. Okay, so let's go back up here and we'll count in twos. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So 2, add 2, add 2, add 2, add 2 equals 10. We can check the answer by counting the individual wheels. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Same answer that we got down here. So both of those are correct. Okay. Right then, on to your activities. So if you are in year 1, you will have these sheets stuck in your book. Okay. So the first sheet is just filling it in. So we've got some feet here. It says how many feet are there, count in twos. So I want you to count in twos all the way to the end. Here we've got a number grid that goes up to 50. The first 3 numbers are shaded in for you. Can you do the rest? And then, can you spot a pattern? And then finally, you've got a number line that starts on 30 and it's 2 jumps to the next number, then 2 jumps. Can you fill in all the numbers going all the way up to 50? So that's quite simple, because once you've done the top bit, you should be able to easily do the bits at the bottom. The hard bit comes on this side. So it says, Lola has been counting backwards in twos. What mistake has she made? I'm not going to read this out. So you can circle the number that's wrong and maybe say what number it should be. Okay, so the answer can't be she counted wrong. Okay, what number did she make a mistake on and what should it have been? And then we have when counting in twos from 0, the tens digit will always be a 0, 2, 4, 6 and 8. The tens digit, not the ones digit, the tens digit. Is right? Show how you know. So you've got to try. This is the tricky bit, year 1s. You've got to try and explain yourself in this little box here. Okay. Once you have, and that's a tricky one. Once you have done that, there are two problem-solving activities stuck in your book, which are very similar to what you've just done. So here we've got a counting backwards. Can you complete can you put the question marks in? And if you continue counting, will you say 25? So the answer to that will be yes or no. And how do you know? I know this because you're going to write that sentence in your book. The second one is always, sometimes, never. So the answer is going to be yes, always, sometimes, or never. So yes, it's always true. No, it's never true. It's sometimes true. When you count in twos, your digits will always be a 0, a 2, a 4, a 6, and an 8. Now, a digit is a number. So 2 is a digit. 10 or 20 would be a 2 digit and a 0 digit. So are they always just a 0, 2, 4, 6, or an 8? Are they sometimes or are they never? And it says prove it here. So that means you've got to give some examples of some numbers that have got digits with that. But if you think that there are not answers where the digits are not 0, 2, 4, 6, and 8, can you show those? So you've got to come up with some examples of some numbers which do follow the rule or don't follow the rule. Right, year ones, you can switch off now and get on with your work. Year twos, sorry you had to sit through all of that, but this is your activity. Okay, very similar. So you've got some sequences up here. Some of them go forwards, some of them go backwards. Okay, you've got to fill in the missing numbers. And then can you complete the number square to 60 below? And then what happens, how far can you count in twos? So you can have a go with that with an adult. But what happens when you get past 100? What happens to the numbers? So that's your first sheet. And your second sheet is the same problems as the year ones. So I've gone through it once, I'm not going to go through it again. So that is your counting in twos lesson for today. Good luck. Looking forward to seeing what you've done, and it's counting in fives tomorrow, everybody.